Hello there, Instructables. My name is Sean Lele, and my project is Project Vtube. If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you want to learn a bit more about how exactly I made my project. So yeah, here we are. So let's get started on why exactly you would want to be a VTuber. Well, a VTuber involves creating a custom model that you can map to your face, and it basically tracks every facial expression that you make. Some of the reasons you would want to become a VTuber are because you don't want to really show your face on the internet, but you still want a way to express your facial expressions. So you would use a VTuber to do something like that, or it can also just be a little fun to do with your friends. So I'm going to show you how to make a model, and then I'm going to show you how you can share it on apps like Discord or Zoom or Twitch. Keep in mind that this model that I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to make one with you, but it's going to be very bare and basic. I'm going to show you all the features that you can use to make the model as elaborate as you would like, but just to make sure to keep this file small enough to actually fit on Instructables and to make sure that um, I'm just going to cover all of the basics. So let's get started with your software that you're going to need. So you're going to want to use, well, first of all, Vroid Studio. This is the software that you're actually going to be um, creating your 3D model in. Uh, so you're going to start with a basic model, and then you're going to be able to change the colors of the skin or your eye color, the sizes of the ears, the nose, the mouth, as well as the hair. You're also going to be able to choose a custom outfit, change all the parts of the body that you want. So the next software you're going to want is VSeeFace. So this one, you're going to be able to download it here. Just search for VSeeFace. You're going to be able to download it here. You're going to need an unzipping file to unzip it once you download it. So make sure you download one. I recommend WinRAR. And what VSeeFace lets you do is this is the software that's going to be sort of tracking your face, so that your model sort of moves with your face. And when your mouth opens, the model's mouth will open, or when you close your eyes, the model's eyes will close. So the last software you're going to want is Streamlabs. So the reason you're going to want Streamlabs is so that you can sort of broadcast your VTuber onto websites like Twitch, Discord, Zoom, just all of those meeting platforms, or really anything that uses a camera. You can use this VTuber model on, and Streamlabs is what is going to let you do that. So let's go ahead and get started with Vroid Studio. We're going to create a new model. We're going to go ahead and pick the female character, since that's what more people tend to gravitate towards when it comes to creating a VTuber model. So right now it's just loading in. And this is the base model that they're going to make for you. As you can see, it's very plain. Face is very plain. The hair is very plain. And the outfit's very plain. It's all just, this is just the default. So now there are a few ways you can sort of customize your model. We're going to start with the face here. I have several different sliders on my right, which I can just really just turn and change the way my model looks. But this definitely is not the end of where you can sort of customize your model. You can go to expression, sort of change the way your model looks when it's making different expressions. And we'll come back to this in a second because it sort of uses VSeeFace. And next you have textures. So the textures are where you're really going to be able to sort of really customize your models. This is where you're going to get a lot of your detailing from. And how we're going to do that is you can actually draw on the textures. If you want different facial features that aren't really shown in the base face editor, you're going to do that here in the textures. So for example, if we were to go to something like skin, and go to the layer, you can see that it's going to open the base layer for the skin. So now I can actually change the color of my brush, or I can change the thickness, as seen here, and I can actually draw on my face and it'll appear on my model. So obviously we don't want a giant red line there, but this can definitely be useful if you're trying to put more detailing on your face, if you're trying to make more, maybe even put tattoos on your face. I am by no means the best artist, so I can't really draw an amazing looking tattoo. Um, this definitely works better if you have sort of a tablet and a little electronic pen that you can use to draw it with. But yeah, this is how you really get more detailing out of your model here. So let's say you wanted to do something like a kindergartner, or a little child for your model, something cute. We could go ahead and maybe, I don't know, they just had a fun day at daycare or something. You could draw a bunch of drawings or scribbles all over their face to show that they had a fun time playing with friends. Or you could even draw bruises if you want. Let's say you wanted to give your character sort of a purplish eye because they just got roughed up. You can do that. Obviously, I'm not the best with it, but it is possible. It's going to take time, but it's definitely very possible. So another thing that you can do here is also change the color of the eyes. So again, it comes down to you have a base sort of color, and you just have the default orange. But now if I just sort of draw, look at that. We have that little purple in there. If you want to make the color the same in both eyes at the same time without having to draw twice, you can come to the top and click the mirror option in the top right. So now I draw in one eye, I am drawing in the other eye, and they look the same. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the face editor. Like I said, a lot of customability, and you can see like I can draw over the eyelashes, the eyebrows. I can draw over almost anything. So now we're going to move on to the hair editor. Now you're going to see now that your hair starts off very bland and basic, a few different shades of coloring, but really nothing too special. You're also going to see you have no sliders for this. This is because you actually get to make the hair yourself entirely. So you're going to do that by going over to the left and clicking Add Freehand Group, and it's going to cast this little net over your model. So this is the net that you're going to be drawing your hair on. If I zoom in here, this little net, that's where my hair is going to go. So the number one piece of advice I can give you when you are drawing your hair is just to take your time, take it slow, because you really want your hair to look nice, right? But you don't want it to look really messy. I mean, unless that's the look you're going for. You don't want there to be gaps everywhere, and you definitely don't want to make it look artificial. You want to make it look as real as possible. So just take your time and try to stay detailed. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the mirror option again for the hair, so that if I draw one strand, it'll draw it on a separate part on a symmetrical part of the hair of the head. So if we go ahead and click on the brush tool, now I can draw. And just like that, I've created a strand of hair. I've created two strands of hair because of our symmetrical tool. And we're just going to take our time, and we can go ahead and we can draw as many strands of hair as we'd like. Just like that. Making sure to take my time, sort of keep it controlled. You are just drawing with your cursor, so it's very easy to slip, and your cursor may go somewhere that you don't want it to go. Obviously, you can just Control Z if there is a strand of hair that you don't like. And you can make definitely some very interesting designs using the hair tool. So we're just going to finish up here, creating a very simple model of the hair. I definitely recommend taking more time than I did just to make this. But yeah, the possibilities are, again, they're really far out there. Okay, so now we've made some hair. Another tip about the hair editor is if you go back to select and you see all these little green dots all over the hair net that you draw on, if you actually click on a green dot and move it, it'll change the way that the net actually moves, so that you're drawing hair at a different sort of angle. If we remove the mirror, it'll only move the front one now. See, now the hair kind of looks like maybe there's a breeze coming from behind, and now the hair is kind of moving forward. It's hanging down a bit further than before. You can make it even go into the head. I don't know why you would want to do this, but it's a little funny thing you can do if you'd like to do it. And yeah, so definitely a lot of things to play around with here. You can also obviously just change the color of your hair. Just move it around. Now it's green. You can change the thickness and the width of the strands. Once you've actually made strands, that's when you get this sort of sliders on the right. You can even change the fuzziness of the hair. So yeah, definitely a lot of creativity options. So next we're going to move on to the body editor. Now the body editor is also pretty simple. You have a body, let's say it's too short. You can go ahead and go to torso, and you can make the torso taller. Basic things like that. You can also go to texture. Give it a second to load. And again, you can do sort of the same exact thing with the textures. You can draw all over them and make them really look however you would like them to look. So yeah, you can give your character tattoos on their arms or something if you are good at drawing on the on a computer. Creativity is sort of endless on that end. So next we're going to come to the clothing editor. So Vroid Studio comes with several different default clothes, such as long sleeve vests, half sleeves. But sort of all of them are sort of bland. See, some of them have settings, but all of them are sort of just not really the best. All of them are really just school outfits or dresses with the same exact sort of tie. If you come over to textures again, you can sort of change the way that they look. But in all honesty, I don't think that the actual Vroid Studio pieces of clothing are the best. So you could make your own clothing, but I'm going to be honest, you would have to be very, very good at drawing and creating a clothing and 3D models to do that. You're basically doing the work of a professional. So what I would recommend you do is come over to this website right here, Booth PM. It is in Japanese, and that's because the whole entire Vroid sort of trend originated from Japan. But you can come over here and you have several different models and clothing to choose from. The clothing that I'd recommend is obviously the free clothing. It's 0 yen. You can just go ahead and click on it, and you can download it right here, and you can go ahead and import it into Vroid Studio, and yeah, it'll just let you go ahead and select over here. After you import it, you can go ahead and select it as one of your tops. So yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. You're not really restricted just to the clothing inside the software. You can go ahead and try to use other apps as well, or other websites, just to find pieces of clothing to use for your model. So the next section we're going to move on to is the general editor. So this is just going to be about your outlines of your actual model. So as you can see, I have this little black line sort of running across my model, and I can change how thick or thin I want that to be. Just using the slider. I could even type something in if I want to. If I want to go like 5.0, obviously that's going to be a little too big, but it's always an option. You're not even really constricted to the slider, or you could go no outline, which not gonna lie, it doesn't even look that bad. So finally, you're going to come to camera and exporter. And this is just going to be how the model looks at the camera for when you move it to VSeeFace. Again, a lot of options here. I really just don't mess with any of these because the model itself is already set at a pretty good default where you're not really going to need to use any of these. But yeah, that's pretty much it for making your model. Like I said, there's a lot of creativity. Designs, especially with the texture feature, where you can go to and sort of just draw all over the face however you'd like with different brushes. So the next thing we're going to do is move on to VSeeFace. So this is the software that you are going to use in order to make your model track your face. So I already have 2 models imported. If you just click on Add Avatar, it'll go to the files on your computer, and you can search up for the model that you like after you save your model in Vroid Studio. But yeah, I already have 2 models, so I'm just going to start this with this one. And as you can see, it's automatically tracking my face. That's because in settings, I was able to create a default camera and a default microphone right here. So I decided to use my webcam and then just my microphone that I always use. And it's definitely very important that both of these are, I wouldn't say high quality, I'd say decent quality. I just have a $30 camera and a $30 microphone. And the reason you want to make sure you have things that are good quality is because this model is tracking your face just as accurately as your camera can sort of record you. So as you can see right now, it's tracking my face. I am talking and it is moving around with me. This is all because the software just automatically makes it track your face and maps it to you. So if I were to move my mouth up and down, the software is opening and closing the mouth. This is actually a combination of the camera looking at my mouth open and close, and also it's my microphone detecting the sounds that I am producing and it's using these sounds to determine in what way I should open my mouth. So we also have the eyes, which will open and close as you open and close your eyes. So if you want to blink, the software will blink with you. And yeah, obviously the model just moves around with me. So let's go ahead and go to the right and go over all of the different sort of options here. So the first one we'll go over is avatar selection. That's just where you're going to select your avatar again, obviously, right over here. Help is if you just need help with anything, it's going to bring you to this large sort of tutorial section. Next, we're going to have reset position. So this is pretty useful, especially if, let's say, I was sitting all the way on the left of my desk. I'm sitting over here now. I'm sort of slouching in my chair, but my VTuber model does not look the best, right? So what I can actually do is I can click reset position, and now it's tracking me, but I'm still sitting on this sort of left side of my desk. And now it's just tracking me, but I feel comfortable sitting in this position, so I'm just going to remain here. But my model is tracking me, and it's standing upright. See, now if I were to come back up, it's going to move all the way to the right because I was slouching down to the left, my left side. So now if I click reset position again, boom, it's just tracking me, same as normal. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the mirror motion function. So this is what's going to be determining what way your model moves when you move. So let's say I wanted to move to the left. I'm moving to the left. The model is moving to the right. That's because I have mirror motion on. And if I were to move to the right, my model is moving to its left. Now, if I have mirror motion off, when I move to the left, the model moves to the left. When I move to the right, the model moves to its right. So it's just a nifty little thing to have, just to make the model move however you like it to. It's a lot about creative freedom here. So next we have the drift back to normal. This is just going to make your model sort of slowly drift back to its normal spot after a bit. As you can see right now, it's sort of moving back. It moves back very slowly. It's not really too useful, but it's definitely something that's nice to have there. Next is tracking the leap motion. This is just what's going to be, if I were to sort of jump up and down, the model is going to jump up and down with me. Now let's go over the different facial expression settings. So as you can see here, I have several different facial expressions, which I have mapped to my number pad. So the VSeeFace software will help you sort of make your facial expressions. When you go into Vroid Studio, as I mentioned earlier, you have all these different expressions that you get to change the sort of the settings for. And that's because if you come into VSeeFace, you can go ahead and actually use all of those expressions mapped to hotkeys. So for example, here, if I were to click my number pad 2, I am happier now. 3, I'm sort of angry. 4, surprised. 5, sad. 6, even more surprised. And if I were to tap on 1, it just resorts back to the normal face. So yeah, definitely something nice to have. It'll help you express your expressions, or express your emotions on stream. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything you need to know about VSeeFace. Now we're going to come over to Streamlabs OBS. This is the software that you are going to be using in order to stream your model onto different sort of platforms. So as you can see right now, I have no sources. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and click on the plus button, and I'm going to go to game capture. I'm going to click add source. Click add source again, and it's going to start looking for a game. It should automatically detect VSeeFace since it is considered a game. You're going to want to make sure you have capture cursor, anti-cheat compatibility hook, and allow transparency on, especially allow transparency. So now we're going to click done, and here we are right now. This sort of window right here that you see on my screen is what your camera is going to broadcast to your software, such as Discord or Zoom. So you definitely aren't really going to want these different words or settings bars on your screen. So if you come back to VSeeFace, you go to the bottom right and click on this little square. It'll make all of that transparent. So now all you have is that little square, which you can crop out. Forgot exactly how you're supposed to do it, but you can actually crop it out. But honestly, it's just a tiny little square, and it's nice to have there in case you need it for anything. So yeah, other than that little square, you're not really going to have any worries with anything really intruding your background. If you wanted to, you can even upload your own image. If you were to just go to plus, go to image, and go to add source. You can browse an image from your device, and you can just put it behind your actual background so that you can have your own background and it's not just a giant black screen. So anyway, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to settings. We're going to go to virtual webcam, and we're going to click on start virtual webcam. So now it's going to say virtual webcam is running. What we just did there is we created our own separate camera on our PC. So I'm going to go to Discord now, and let's just say I wanted to VC with a friend. I am going to go to voice and video, and I'm going to make sure that I'm using the Streamlabs OBS virtual webcam. So click on that. Now go ahead, and I'm going to start a video call. And as you can see, I'm using my Vtuber model in Discord. This is because I changed my settings and created a Streamlabs OBS camera. So yeah, you're pretty much done at this point. You've created your Vtuber, and you are using it on a third-party software, such as Discord, OBS. Not Discord, Zoom, really just any meeting software, Skype, anything that uses your camera. But yeah, so now let's go over some of the pros and cons of this software and just this whole entire project, and then I will wrap it up. Definitely some of the pros are being able to express yourself and being able to have your own virtual model that tracks your face. And it's just a very fun thing to use just to have some fun with your friends maybe, or to get started in VTubing. Some of the cons are definitely that it's going to require some money to do, especially with the webcam and the microphone. And if you want to actually make the VTuber model track your hands, it's going to require a completely new piece of hardware, which is around $70, which really isn't a good investment. I wouldn't recommend it. And then also, if you wanted to, you can add a green screen, which will help you change your background a bit more easily. And you have a lot more freedom when it comes to changing your background. So that's another option, but it's not definitely required. But yeah, other than that, those are the pros and cons. This was how exactly I made my VTuber project. So thank you, Instructables. I hope I can make many more projects for you in the future. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.